Hey guys, Equinox here, and this is going to be my Dawn of the Infants Galakronds Fall Dungeon Guide. I'm basically just going to go over every mob, what they do, how to deal with it, and yeah, basically just get into it. Same with the bosses. Go and press play. So this first area, we're going to be dealing with Infinite Time Slicers, Infinite Chrono Weavers, and Epoch Rippers. The Infinite Chrono Weavers are going to do an ability called Chrono Melt. This just targets a DPS, does really high initial damage that can be kicked or CC'd without recast. The Epoch Rippers are going to do an ability called Time Rip, so it's going to target one of the DPS or healer players. You're going to jump on them and do instant cast. This ability was recently nerfed, so it's a lot easier to deal with. And then the Infinite Time Slicers are going to do Tempo Slice, and that's just an ability that's parryable and CCable that stacks the damage taken debuff on the tank that can be dispelled. This is very dangerous and needs to be dealt with, so you see that ability debuff I have. You can CC it without recast, same as the Chrono Melt. So this area is just pretty easy to deal with. CC the tempo slices, CC the CC or kick the Chrono Melts, and dodge the Epoch Rippers. There's the Epoch Ripper Time Rip. And yeah, that's it. That's literally the whole area. Super simple, one mechanic apiece. The Chrono Melts are force desynced, so they don't like just multicast, kind of like the beams in Halls of Infusion. If you're used to that, they don't do that. So these mobs are actually pretty balanced in that way. For now, I do not know if that'll change. All these dungeons are subject to change going live. Like these different dungeons can be completely different 5 months from now. So we'll see. But yeah, really, really simple. This first area you can do big pulls because everything is just very desynced. You don't get a bunch of chain casts. Pretty easy to deal with. There's a Tempo Slice. See the debuff again. This is a really dangerous debuff. It's like 100% per stack. It's pretty disgusting. Alright, now on to Chronicar. This boss is really, really simple. You're going to get a bunch of circle under you that's going to leave sand on the ground. So you're going to see this. Don't stack. So basically how you want to deal with this is as a tank or anyone who can survive the stomp plus the sand debuff, you basically want to stack them to conserve space. He's also going to do a leap here. He's going to target 2 people. So the first person is going to leave their circle instantly. So you're going to see this. The first person he targets is going to leave their circle instantly. The second person has time to place where they want this circle. So you want to ideally place them in like a little bit overlapped right next to each other. So you jump here, and then he has all these lines. You just have to dodge these, and then the tank ideally just soaks this while the DPS just worry about uptime on the boss. So I soak this. Then the next one, you dodge these, get in. Those lines really hurt, so you want to make sure you dodge these. The next ability is the pools. And so it's going to do the pools. And you're going to see I'm going to get in, conserve as much space as possible. And that's it. That's the whole mechanic. That's it. Now he's going to do Chrono Share. It's going to put a Healing Absorb on you. Once this Healing Absorb is consumed, it'll put a 200% damage taken debuff on you that can be dispelled. So this is up to your healer. It needs to be dispelled, otherwise you get clapped up. You're going to see, yeah, you see like that one auto he got did a lot of my HP, and this isn't even tyrannical, so you can imagine that's the whole fight. That's literally just the complete sequence of the fight. This boss is probably pretty easy. You ideally can do trash on top of this boss since it's just literally CCing the cast. Should be fairly easy to do trash on top of this boss. He doesn't do Chrono Shear until like 40 seconds into the fight. As you can see here, yeah, like this. Just that's it. That's literally the whole sequence of the fight. This is probably the easiest fight in here. The second boss is actually pretty hard to healing check. As you can see here, I'm like literally just completely like overlapping it. And yeah, that's it for this fight. I'm gonna skip a little bit forward. So now we're gonna go into this hallway. So this area is kind of awkward. So it's basically just a bunch of casters. You got the... So I'm going to go over the trash mobs in here. So where we start, we got the Coalesced Moment. These are just like little adds. They do an Infinite Bolt in the tank, and they do an ability called Tainted Sands. Then you'll see Temporal Fusions, just another tank hit. Nothing you really have to deal with. There are Time Stream Leeches. They'll do an ability called Enervate. Basically, you can kick this, or if you don't kick it, it'll start a channel, which can be CC'd. It does not recast. And then there's the other important 2 mobs are Time Stream Anomaly. They're the big little dragon dudes you'll see. They do an ability called Bloom, which is a debuff on the tank and one other person. And you want to dispel the other person, leave it on the tank. And then there's Untwist, which is a big frontal nuke on the tank that follows you. You can't dodge it, you have to defensive it. And then there's the Coalesce Time, which does a debuff just like the one on the boss, which you'll see, and then Infinite Bolt Volley, which is a 2 melee kick. And now I'm going to play the video, and you guys will see all of these in actions as I'll go over them again. So basically, you get to choose which side you start on. You can go left or right here. Doesn't matter. They're just different packs. So the first pack on the right is a Coalesced Moment, 2 Temporal Fusions, and you probably run to the Coalesce Time. And then if you go left, it's 2 Coalesced Moments, a Temporal Fusion, and 2 Leeches. So we decide to go right here. You see the Coalesce Times padding. I'm going to pull them around because you have to deal with a little bit of RP. Here you see the Infinite Bolt Volley cast. That's the first kick you do. There's the Infinite Bolt Volley. Then he's going to do Chrono Burst. And then there's the Tainted Sands cast that we just interrupted from the moment. It's a very fast cast, but if you do CC it, it does not recast. It does a lot of damage on your group, so you ideally want to CC it. It's just kind of hard to CC. And then there's the Chrono Burst. It puts 2 dots out. You have to, you either let them both expire in defensive and spread out, or you dispel one and let the other one expire. And it does the AoE around in that big circle. CC just like that. Then there's Infinite Bolt Volley. There's the Enervate on Jack. And then there's the Infinite Bolt from the moment on me. So there's the Enervate cast. See, you finish it. It becomes unkickable now. And now, but you can CC it. So there I CC it. Doesn't recast. And then there's the Tainted Sand cast. As you can see, the debuff on Oreo. That's just the debuff. It just does ticking damage. It was nerfed very recently. It doesn't do nearly as much. And then there's the Chrono Burst again. Same thing. And then there's these little guys over here. They just do a big AoE when they get a certain amount of HP. There you go. And then here comes the Temporal Anomaly mob. So this was the one that does the Bloom and Up Twist. So Bloom is going to put 1 debuff on the tank and then 1 on the other person. See, it goes on the Hunter. He gets dispelled. You leave it on me. It doesn't do nearly as much damage to me as it does to other people. Here's Untwist. That's the Tank Buster. And then it does little circles where you put it. So you will obviously want to point this away from the group. There's the Tainted Sand again. And yeah, that's the whole area. It's literally just that. So one thing about these leeches is they do magic damage autos. So be very wary when you're dealing with those. If you're a Blood DK or someone of really low verse, these hurt a lot. So you'll notice this. So here now we have the Coalesce Time and the Bloom. So this is going to be 3 different dispels. So this is going to be kind of where you want to let the Chrono Burst expire or mass dispel it. But ideally you want to let it expire and just defensive the end of it. They nerfed the periodic damage and the explosion on it recently, so it's pretty easy to deal with. And yeah, that's like you just take this area as slow as possible. There's a very heavy chunk of percent in this area. And yeah, it's just pretty easy. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward through the rest. Alright, now we're gonna go to the Manifest Time Waste boss. So this boss is very straightforward. He has 2 mechanics. He does not do the tank frontal anymore. They completely removed that. He has 2 mechanics. So he has Chrono Faded, which is 2 debuffs, similar to Chrono Burst, same thing. And he has the balls that he summons, the Fragments of Time. I'll explain how to deal with that. Very simple. And he also has these 2 zones. He has the Dark Zone and the Light Zone. The Light Zone is sped up, so any mechanic you put in there will be sped up. It'll be much faster. The Dark Zone makes you take less damage, but it slows down the debuffs. And you'll see why that's important soon. So you see here's the Dark and Light Zone. The Dark Zone you want to stand in as the tank at all times. It's pretty much what you just want to be there at all times. You just take the least amount of damage. And now we're going to see our first ability. It should be Fragments of Time. And what you want to do here is basically you hug the boss and you just go right the entire time. As you can see, you're literally just trailing the balls at all times if you go right. This might work. I don't think this works if you go left, but I'm not sure. I haven't done it. But yeah, you can literally just go right, trivialize the mechanic. All right, here's Chrono Faded. So Chrono Faded puts a debuff on each person, and each of them have to stand in the light phase until one is dispelled. So once Jack dispels himself, it pops, and you see if it's all fast, it goes like this, and it just does a big AoE damage on everybody. And then this other person can stand in the dark until theirs is faded, and then they stand in the light, it expires, boom, does it again. And that's it. That's literally the whole fight. You just repeat those two mechanics over and over, and that's the fight. Here comes the fragments time again, and you just hug the boss and go right. Very, very simple. You don't have to take this fast at all. It just makes it very easy. And it's going to be chrono faded again. I put a random darkness down in hopes that it would help. There's one dispel. Actually, I think that was both. He might have pre-immuned it or something. Oh, there's a second one. But yeah, that's it. That's the whole fight. Alright, the next part is the Blight of Galakron. Oh, okay, so here's a little trick. So there's a dragon that spawns here that you ideally don't want to do because you just don't need the percent. So what you do is you group up, you all mount up, and then you count down, and then you all run at the same time and just auto walk. So you see right here, everyone just auto walks right past the dragon because it's stuck in RP. Easy, you can just skip it. Super simple, you can lock gateway it if you want to. Basically, all that dragon does is an Infinite Fury cast, which you'll see in the dungeon guide for the upper area. Yeah, it's just a lot of damage. So this next area is going to have two main mobs, the Risen Dragon and the Blight Chunk. The Blight Chunk, every time they die, gives the Risen Dragon a 50% melee damage increase. It has no effect on their AoE, and the Risen Dragons will be pulsing AoE and doing a ground delay that you have to dodge. So we're going to do these, and you're going to see when all these little Blight Chunks die, he gives them the buff. You can skip this right side one if you do the left first. So if you want to skip one of these, either Invispot through or Shroud. Or Shroud, or do left side first. And you can see the debuff he gets. If you have a Druid, his Soothe gets rid of all of them. Hunter Soothe does not. Rogue Soothe, I think, does as well. So keep that in mind. Also, you want to not pull two at a time. As you can see, the AoE is very brutal. This area is insane. And that's it. That's the whole area. Basically, also these Blight Chunks aren't like completely linked. As you'll see, like I might pull like one at a time. So you can like choose however many you want to pull. But yeah, the area is simply you just take it slow. You just do one dragon at a time. If you want to skip these first two, you don't need the percent from them. So you can feel free to skip them. And yeah, that's about it. And as you can see, we're going to do two because we have Lust up and want to just do something kind of crazy. This is a good Lust pull if you can survive it. It's like pretty value. Each of these dragons are worth 10%. This whole pull and this whole room is 15% just for these two dragons and all the Blight Chunks. You see I pop meta here because the Enrages are very terrifying. It's placed at 50% per chunk, and it's 15 chunks, so 15 times 30, or 15 times 50, it's quite a bit. And there's the Hunter bug. It makes this thing pretty big. Alright, so let's talk about the Blight of Galakron boss. So from 100 to 80%, you're going to be fighting the Blight of Galakron. He just gives a debuff on one person called Corrosion, which puts a bunch of puddle out, and then you have to pass that debuff before it finishes or they get MC'd. And then from 80 to 50, you'll fight the dragon. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, you'll fight the dragon, and he does Necrotic Winds. He does Necrotic Winds, and he does the debuff too. So yeah, Necrotic Winds is big AoE damage with Tornadoes to dodge, and you'll also deal with the debuff. So here, there's the Corrosive, and basically you just keep it on this person for a little while, and then the tank takes it. And then this one does Blight Reclamation fast. Blight Reclamation just takes the debuff away, basically. And then he's going to do the debuff again. He's going to put it on somebody, and then the tank is just going to take it away again. But since he's going to go to 80 soon, you just let it expire. You just pass it to me for the Blight Reclamation, and I get it. And you see, 80 is going to go over to this little dragon corpse, and then he's going to summon the boss. And this is this guy, and he just does the same mechanics, same as the last one, except he's going to do Necrotic Winds on top of it. There's the infusion. This one, you need to pass it to one other person. That one other person passes it to me at the last second, and then I keep it until the next phase. So he's gonna do Blight Reclamation. I think it's barely gonna hit. He's going to give it back to me. A little scary. Yeah, so another way you can do this is pass it to the tank immediately. The tank passes it to someone that immunes it, like immunes the damage, and then you get passed back at the very end of Necrotic Winds. That's another way to do it. And you just do this to 50. You see this debuff's going to go away at 50, so boom, he gets it, then it's gone. Alright, so now you're going to get into this phase. You're going to fight 2 at the same time. The Necrotic Winds mechanic does not exist. The Corrosion mechanic does exist. And there's a new ability called Necrofrost, which is a root that's breakable by Freedom, Disengage, stuff like that. And they share HP pools. So this one right here that we're fighting is not movable. That's why you start over here. You want to start on top of this one since they aren't movable. And they share HP. I don't know, they don't share HP. Do they share HP? I think they share HP. Yeah, they share HP. So here's the debuff. So he doesn't do Blight Reclamation for a very long time, so you're basically playing hot potato for as long as possible, and you want to keep it on the tank the most amount of time. So you want to like give it to someone, they press a defensive, then you get it back immediately once their defensive's over. You basically just want to keep it on the tank. One of them is going to charge and do an Incendiary Breath, and you just dodge it like that right there. You're just going to do the breath, and then you dodge it. That's it. Super simple. And he's going to do Noxious Ejection, which is just random damage. There's nothing you can stop it. There's Necrofrost. So we get, if it goes on a priest here, if they don't have the fade to break them out, then you break it out. If you have a paladin, monk, you can Tiger's Lust Freedom it. Disengage works. Anything that removes roots works. So ideally you want to have Lust for this boss, and you Lust from 50 to 0, because that's the best time to Lust. 100 to 80 is a very simple one. 80 to 50 is kind of sketchy, but you can deal with it. So this next area is literally the same as the first area trash, just it adds an Galakronds creation, which does a stone bolt. These are 1 melee kick or 1 CC every cast. They do not recast. So you see here, I'm going to kick it. And then you have the Epoch Grippers again. I'm going to silence. Do this. I'm going to grip them. And that's it. It's literally just all the first area trash. This part's super, super simple. You can do really big pulls here, especially if you have high CC like a VDH or a Prop Paladin. It's a very, very simple area. Try to stop Tempo Slice as much as you can. That's pretty much the only way you can die. Brew deals with this pretty easily. You can just para, sweep it. You cannot knock it. It casts while moving, and you can outrange it. So if you're ever kiting for some reason, you can't outrange it. You can dwarf it. You can diffuse it. It does not reflect the debuff back on the mob, which would be sick because it would just get 100-0'd. And yeah, that's it. Super simple trash. Let's talk about a Galakron. So this is a really simple fight. It basically split up into 2 phases. He has his first phase, which is just doing Stonecracker Barrage and the Earth Surge, and then after Earth Surge, he summons adds. And that's it. That's his 2 phases, and then at the end is a burn. I'll go through them while they're doing this. Also, every time you get hit as a tank, you get a stacking damage taken debuff. So basically, if you haven't parried or anything in a little while, you'll be taking more damage. So any tank with very low parry is going to have a kind of a hard time. You're going to drop stack. So you see here you have Extinction Blast on Karm. He does, this is basically just a giant circle. You stand in the Chromie Orb circle where you get 1 shot. Nobody else can stand in the circle. You can pre-immune this dot. If you don't have a pre-immune, it'll just leave a dot on you. It does a lot of damage, and Stonecracker Barrage will clap you. So you turtled there. There's the dot. Now the tank stands in the small one. Everybody else stands in the big one, and this splits the damage. I put Darkness down for the group. This does hurt the tank, so you do want to defensive this. As you can see, it actually does quite a bit of damage. I had stuff up there, so it didn't do too much. But yeah, this is also not tyrannical. This boss will hurt on Stonecracker Barrage quite a bit on non-tyrannical. Now he's going to do Earth Surge. This puts a giant shield up, and he just does pulsing AoE every time he throws out the lines on the ground that you'll see. So you'll see the lines on the ground, and you just dodge these, and then he does the giant shield and pulsing damage. That's it. So the whole phase. Ideally, you want to spread out here so you have a chance for people to not move. but you don't want to be too spread out that the healer can't heal you. Also, after every Stonecracker barrage, the Chromie needs healed up. If the Chromie ever hits 0, you insta-wipe. You can see I'm just tanking him because I don't really care too much because it doesn't kill me. Alright, now you're going to stack up here, and he's going to do the pulverizing exhalation right here. You're going to go left or right, whichever one you choose, and you're going to put these ads close. And then I'm going to CC them. You can just kick them twice here, and then you just kill them under the boss. Super, super simple. And that's a repeat. You just literally do that till the end of the fight. I'm going to show you the next Stonecracker barrage, then we'll skip to the 90% phase. So he's going to do Extinction Blast, and then you're going to get in the Chromie circle you see right there. This person's going to get a dot. So you want to save your big defensive for when you start eating the Stonecracker barrage. So here you go. It's going to be the Stonecracker barrage. They're going to personal. And we're going to barrier. As you can see, the Stonecracker barrage actually hurts me quite a bit, like right there. Like I should have popped something. But yeah, like on high tyrannical keys, you're going to get melted as a tank on that. It's going to be like pretty tough. And then we just go into the next phase. That's Earthshard Shield once again. And then we go to the end of the fight. I'm going to fast forward. And then 90%, he will so if he does the 90, he will despawn these ads, so you don't have to worry about them. Alright, so since he hits 90, Chromie's going to go to the center. Everybody's going to get under here. And you're going to get... You're going to get haste and increased damage done. And you're just going to burn him. And then when he hits 85%, fight's over. Very, very simple. That's the whole dungeon. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. There's not too many mechanics. And higher fort keys that will be pretty punishing, and even higher Tyran for Manifested Time Ways and this boss. Even Blight will actually be pretty hard. I feel like Blight's actually going to be the hardest boss. This boss isn't too bad, but Blight is pretty hard on high Tyran, I think. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments below. Like, subscribe. It helps me out. And have a good one.